I took out a good chunk of my savings and I found a food truck builder before I told my husband. This is my grand reveal. And I handed this guy $25,000 and I said, build me a food truck.
As entrepreneurs, you have to have that leap of faith.
You do.
Like, just jump, determination to keep going.
Oh, I kept jumping.
You know? Yeah.
I was in and out of puddles. Proud to say 6 years later, we are onto something.
Yeah.
We have been awarded one of the best Airbnb experiences in the state of Arizona. And I was like, you know what would it look like if I went just all gas and no brakes with this food thing? I said, what would it look like? Like, how much of myself would I have to sacrifice? Fumi, what are you doing anymore? That's my name, Fumi. Yeah. That's my Nigerian name. Okay. I was like, what are you doing? You are Toyin's daughter. Toyin is my mom. Funshaw's daughter. If you cannot learn how to cook jollof rice in this your lifetime, what have you become? And I began. Yeah, so my name is Patience Tickcomb, but I am affectionately now known as Chef Patty.
Chef Patty.
Chef, the saint, patron saint, Chef Patty now.
Yes.
I'm the proud owner of the first and only Nigerian American food truck in Phoenix called Las Gidi Cafe. So it sounds like let's get it. That's what I've been hearing.
Yeah.
Las Gidi Cafe.
Las Gidi.
So Las Gidi is just a slang word for Lagos. And to me, it just means Lagos strong, which is what I feel embodies my culture, the food, my heritage, and the story I want to tell.
Nice. So we're both Nigerians.
Yes.
We're immigrants to this United States of America.
Yeah.
When did you move out here?
So I have been here since 1996.
Oh, wow.
So I was a small girl
Yeah.
when my parents relocated here. My dad had been here, but then my mom and my sister, we came to join him.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So your dad was here before, and then same actually. My dad was here for 3 years before.
And then
they
come to set the scene so that it's not so hard for everybody when they come.
No, that's awesome. So, being an immigrant here, infusing basically two of your cultures in a sense, how has that basically helped you with your business or just influenced the way you do business? Yeah,
so from the menu to the experience to the quality of the work, I think all of that ties in with me being a Nigerian American. So one of the unique things on our food truck is that we offer what I call gateway dishes. Okay. So they're literally a blend of like Western food and West African food, like our loaded suya fries. Who doesn't love a loaded fry?
Right.
So we take something that is traditional or, unique to Phoenix, let me say carne asada or chicken thighs, which is American. Everybody knows that. But then we season them with West African spices and suya, which originates from northern Nigeria. Yeah. So you put that on a fry, kind of create your own sauce, put your own spin on it. It really tells the story of what it is to fuse two cultures together.
Okay. And food is really good. I had it, a couple of weeks ago.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. It was really good. So beyond just food, differences in culture, moving here in 1996 and having to figure it out all new because, being from Nigeria, you see all the same types of people, the same culture. We have this thing where strangers could parent you in a sense.
Yeah.
And you move here. What were some of the differences you had to battle?
I think for me, kind of that, I don't want to say respect factor, but really that like blatant respect for your elders. Like I remember my first job there, one of my coworkers was like significantly older than me. I just couldn't bring myself to call her by her first name.
Right.
I was like Auntie Dana, Mama Dana. One day she was like, girl, I'm just Dana. I said, you know what? You'll have to pardon me because I didn't grow up like that.
Yeah.
If somebody is 10 minutes older than you, better believe you're calling them sister this or brother that. And that is just one of like the respect things. Of course, the food, it's night and day. I remember the first time I saw a breaded piece of fried chicken, I screamed. Like I thought the chicken was infected.
Oh man.
The girl almost slapped me silly because I smacked her chicken out of her hand because that was something we don't do. We don't bread chicken.
Right.
That's something that happened with, slavery and, Africans being here in the United States. So those are some of the things that I felt like really stuck out. Even just, like the language. Yeah. Even though I spoke English in Nigeria, it was a different kind of an English.
Right.
And Nigerians speak like British English. So here I am calling a drawer like a till or like my sneakers were trainers. My pants were trousers. My shirts were blouses. Yeah. I had to unlearn that to fit in. And as a kid, that was important. So I really had to do the work work to try to fit in here.
Okay. All right. So we're just gonna go through lean line.
Okay.
From then all the way to now owning the food truck.
Yeah.
Right. How did you get there? I know, being from a Nigerian household, they were not like, oh, you're going to be a chef. You are going to be cooking food in a truck.
Ooh-wee. Nah, that was not the way.
Yeah. What was the expectation, I should say?
Yeah. So my dad's a pharmacist. My mother's a nurse. So medicine was it. I wasn't I didn't have the debating skills to be a lawyer. So medicine was it. I went to Temple University, shout out Philly, for undergrad. Nice. And the plan was to be a pharmacist.
Okay.
I'm a daddy's girl, true and true. And I was going to be a pharmacist. So I started my pre-pharm classes, even took my PCAT at Temple. And then I did my first internship kind of job at Rite Aid Pharmacy. And I hated it.
Really?
And what was unfortunate was that my dad didn't do a good job of telling me the different types of, pharmacy fields that I could go into, like long-term care, inpatient pharmacy in a hospital. I thought I was going to be checking pills for the rest of my life behind a counter at a Rite Aid. Gotcha. And I said, heck no. Right. And so I pivoted, actually. Then I thought I wanted to go excavate bones in Nepal. As an archaeologist. Okay. That also was very short-lived. Okay. So I graduated, took the first job that came my way, first salary job, where I was a case manager for older adults in Philadelphia. Okay. And I did that for a couple of years, realized I wanted a little more. It's the Nigerian blood in me. And I moved into Head Start. And so I was a health and mental health manager for a couple Head Start programs in Philadelphia. Okay. And I did that for a little bit. And I was like, nah, this ain't it. This, my mates are carrying big car. I'm here driving Toyota Corolla. Please, God, change my life. And so man's had to keep moving. And so I learned about a certification through my mentor, Greg. Shout out Greg Lauren if you're watching this. Greg told me that he was a Lean Six Sigma black belt. And I was like, this one is like a karate. I don't know this Lean Six something. He was like, just check it out. So I went, I did my research and Lean was popping. Really? This was, early, I sound so old. 2014. Yes, that was that long ago. Okay. And people were really doing things in improvement. Lean was moving into healthcare. So Lean is a way to reduce waste and make work more efficient.
Gotcha.
Traditionally in engineering, started in Toyota in Japan and has migrated and now is cross industry. And so they were doing this certification program in Drexel in Philly. It was like $300. You could get your yellow belt. I was like, come on, $300. Let me spend it towards my future. Yeah. So I did. I got the certification and they said, this is the first belt, but you can get an even more robust belt that could really help you burst into the industry. Gotcha. This class was like $2,500. Really? So I went to the lady and said, look, lady, all I got is $250. Can I at least put a deposit down for this class? And she was like, you know what? Sure. Really? So I put my deposit down. I went. It was a 3-month program, and we had to do a project at the end. And I said to myself, if I can pass this and I can implement it in something that I'm already doing, I'm going to try to see what's up. Yeah. And so I implemented it at the Head Start I was working in. We were having issues capturing lead results for our kiddos, which was one of the parameters that we had to submit for it to be compliant with the state as far as health goes. And so I did it. The project worked. I was like, so they're not lying. I can't really do this something. So I hopped on it. So I started applying for jobs. But of course, it's nice that you have a certification, but experience is key, right? Ain't nobody trying to mess with you if you don't have no experience. Sure. So the first job that responded to me was in Flagstaff, Arizona. Okay. I was living in Philly. Okay, like North Philly. I'm a Philly girl. Yeah. And this job, I was like, where is Flagstaff, Arizona? Come on, that place is fine. So I looked the job up. I was like, nah. But the recruiter messaged me. She was like, hey, you applied for this job. We'd like to just have a phone chat. Yeah. The Nigerian me was tuggling, just take the call. What's the worst that can happen? Shabi, you already made up your mind. You're not going. Because I made up my mind. There was no way I was coming to Arizona. Really? There was no way. No way. I was a single mom. I had a 5-year-old. There was no way. Yeah. But I took the interview, and then they called me back. And she was like, hey, the hiring manager wants to meet with you. Oh, no, the director of the position. Okay. I was like, all right, I'll hear him out. I remember we had a Skype call. That's how long ago this was.
Skype.
It was
I remember
Skype.
that, yeah.
And Ricardo was his name, and we had a chat. And he was like, you know what? You don't meet any of these qualifications, but I'm willing to take you on and train you to becoming like the best Lean Six Sigma like agent you can be. I was like,
Did you take that as a sign? Like, hey,
the signs were signing,
well,
but
there.
I wasn't buying it at the time. And I remember telling him, nah. He called me back a week later and he was like, did you change your mind? I was like, this is pressure. I was like, all right, you know what? Fine. I'll move into the next interview phase.
Right.
Did the next interview, got through there. So they offered me the job, long story short. And I told my dad, he was like, God forbid it. You are going to, I was in Arizona, your mates, go to Maryland, go to this, go to that. And I was like, I'm not getting jobs in Maryland.
Right.
I'm getting them in Arizona. What should I do? My mom was like, pack your loot. You are going to Arizona. God will change your life in Arizona. Power of a praying mom, right? She already saw the memo. And so I asked my sister to come watch my daughter for a weekend. And I told myself I was going to go to Arizona for the weekend. And if I could check off these 3 particular things on my box, I'd move to Arizona. One was to find an emergency contact that lived in the state for my daughter, because it was just her and I going.
Gotcha. Okay.
It was and I didn't know a single soul in the state. So I was really like taking a wild leap.
Sure.
But it was an emergency contact, find her a school, and find us a place. It was literally mission impossible. I left Friday morning, but time changed. So when I got to Arizona, it was like morning, and I was leaving Sunday on the last flight out. And it was out of Phoenix, so I still had to come from Flagstaff to Phoenix. By the way, I didn't know that.
That was a 2-hour drive.
They didn't tell me the 2-hour drive, that it was up a mountain and that the elevation was 7,000 feet. It's nice how they left those nice parts out. Yeah. I land in Phoenix thinking I'm about to do a 20-minute ride. I get in my Uber. Uber says 2 hours. I said, come on. What do you mean 2 hours?
How much was that Uber?
$160 back then.
Actually, that's not even that
That's
bad.
not even back then. That was like 10 years ago. So, and I went to Flag, and instant headache as soon as I got there. I just saw that my ears were popping, you know what I mean? The elevation. But I got there, and long story short, y'all, I checked all 3 off the box. Literally, the third one was as I was boarding my flight from Flagstaff. It was American Airlines flight 1031. I'll never forget it. And I flew from Flagstaff to Phoenix, and I met Tanya and her daughter.
Wow.
And they were the only Black people that I had seen for like 3 days. And I went up to this lady and I said, I don't know you, you don't know me, but I'm getting ready to go back home. I just got this job here, and I need an emergency contact for my kid. Will you do it?
Wow. And she
looked at me, she said, are you crazy? Yes, but are you crazy?
That's funny.
We're still good friends. I'm still
friends?
today.
That's
yes,
cool.
we are indeed. Turns out she was working at the university that I also now work at. But she was working there as a nurse educator, and had moved also with her son from Kentucky, and her older daughter. They were visiting. And so we checked off the boxes, and I packed my bags, and we moved to Phoenix in September of 2014.
2014. Okay. So that determination has been there, and I feel like
it's kind of chilling telling the story now in hindsight that I can't believe me now. Forget it.
Right.
I can't do that.
You can't do it. Yeah.
The
I totally
leaps
get
and
that.
the bounds was crazy.
Yeah. And as entrepreneurs, you have to have that leap of faith.
You do.
Like just jump, determination to keep going.
Oh, I kept jumping.
Yeah.
I was in and out of puddles for 10 years.
I totally get you. My story, so we moved to Phoenix in 2001. I've been here and just been in Phoenix really. And I went, school, got my degree in psychology. After that, same thing. I have no experience, I think that's typical for a lot of immigrants because you just focus on school, right? So I moved here, I had no experience, and eventually I decided I'm just going to go back and get my master's, So I went back, got my master's in, it's a psychology of science, master's of science in sports enhancement.
Okay.
And so, again, finished that, wasn't doing much with it, but in the middle of my master's degree, that's when I felt this shift and pull towards video and photography. But that's because I was, again, I've been a creative my entire life, and that's what has sustained me.
I was going to ask.
I literally,
do you have the creative bug? Because I don't.
Oh, I do. Back when, I was 9 years old, me and my brothers were in music school, playing music, doing all that. I played drums, dance, taught dance for 6 years.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, that's the only thing I've really done that has actually sustained my life. Outside of that, it's been
Just to survive.
I worked at a university for a little bit. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't,
real.
it's just, I'm coming into a box all day, making phone calls. I can't do it. So at the end of my master's program, I decided, okay, I'm gonna start. I purchased a camera. I set up my LLC without knowing how to use a camera properly.
Wow.
So I'm like, I'm just gonna jump and do it, and that's what I've been doing for the past almost 10 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like that. You just have to jump.
Oh, yeah.
And like as you keep going, the jumps become even farther and bigger and deeper.
Scarier.
It's scarier. To take those leaps. But those are the things that we have to do. So now you're in Phoenix. You're at Flagstaff at that point, 2014.
Yep.
What was your deciding factor to begin the food truck?
Yeah. So right in 2014, when I got there, Flagstaff is a small town, college city. We had just got Chick-fil-A back in 2014. So the options were like Thai food, tacos, Filbertos, things that I was not interested in. And the lack of food options was killing me. I had to drive to Kingman to get Popeyes.
Really?
So I would do that drive once a month and get like a 24-piece, freeze it, and then be heating it up. Then one day I was like, Fumi, what are you doing anymore? That's my name, Fumi. That's my Nigerian name. I was like, what are you doing? You are Toyin's daughter. Toyin is my mom. Funshaw's daughter. If you cannot learn how to cook jollof rice in this your lifetime, what have you become? And I began literally watching YouTube, CC Yemi and all of those, like the OG YouTubers. And I would make jollof rice. I'd make rice and stew. Stew was like where I started, right? That one's easy. Yeah. Then I moved up to like rice. Then I would try to like recreate some of our soups, okra soup, egusi soup, eforiro. And people in Flagstaff caught wind that there was this like, because we lived in a little cul-de-sac, so I'd always share the food with like my nighters. Yeah. And then they would go and tell their friends. And if they tell you, if you go anywhere on earth and there isn't a Nigerian, you should come and leave that place because Nigerians go everywhere. And of course, there was a Nigerian at the university, a Nigerian at the hospital, a Nigerian, and they caught wind of it. And people would buy like, the half pans if they were having like a small potluck at their work or, a small gathering for the holidays. And then I moved to Phoenix in 2016. And I thought to myself, like, oh, for sure, I don't have to cook anymore. It's Phoenix, big city, please. It was just an elevated version of Flagstaff. Right. The food scene in Phoenix in 2016 is not the food scene in Phoenix today. I think we can all attest to that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And so I just kept on cooking. And then in 2018, I was like, you know what? This is what I don't want to do this anymore. I'm hustling, selling place. Like I'm an accomplished learned person. I have master's degree. Like I have 6-figure job and I'm selling jollof rice plates. What am I even doing? So I stopped. And that October, Airbnb had started or were launching their experiences in the Southwest region of the United States. Right. And they sent like a virtual email out. And that thing, that bugging you that never wants to sleep was like, Fumi, applied it. I was like, what are we applying for? I was well-traveled, by the way. I was like 33 countries in. Really? I was one of those like hustling to hit 100. Like I was gone all the time. And I had a flexible job to do.
Have you hit 100 yet?
No, not yet. I'm at like 49, but life slows you down.
Right, for sure. Kids and all that.
Kids and all that slow you down. So I applied. I got it. And it was in my backyard. My first ever customer was a lady from Wisconsin, like Madison, Wisconsin. And it was just in my backyard. And we cooked jollof rice. And we talked about her travels. We talked about mine. And I remember when she was leaving and she was like, hey, you should really keep this up. I think you're onto something. Proud to say 6 years later, we are onto something. We have been awarded one of the best Airbnb experiences in the state of Arizona when we started. And so it has been... That has been just a small part of the journey. So we do teach Airbnb experiences, cooking classes. You can select the dish or we select the dish. I can come to you. It's such a good time. We'll make sure that we include that link in there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And then that led to 2020, the pandemic came and everyone was home. And what was everybody doing? Eating. Everybody was bigging up their backs. And we weren't doing anything else. Job furloughed everyone. So I said, you know what? I think I'll go back to cooking. That was always something that I enjoyed. And the pandemic definitely like got the wheels turning and turning. And so by October, we had ramped up like a really solid customer base.
Nice.
But then through the pandemic, I decided to get engaged and get married and have another baby. Yeah, so I had a little pandemic boo that stuck around forever. And we're married now, going on 5 years.
Nice, congrats.
And that definitely like slowed things down.
I got married
for me.
in September 2020 as well.
2020, you were COVID.
Yeah.
Yes. And so, we just continued the journey. And in April of 2022, now the baby's like 1. I'm off maternity leave.
Right.
I'm ready to get back into this thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what would it look like if I went just all gas and no breaks with this food thing? This food thing that I've had since 2014 and officially incorporated the LLC in 2018.
Okay.
I said, what would it look like? Like, how much of myself would I have to sacrifice? And so we hosted our first like official Lasgidi brunch in April of 2022.
Okay.
I posted it on Eventbrite. I had 50 tickets.
Wow.
No plan, no menu, no nada. And I had 2 weeks. And we sold out of 50 tickets in the first week.
Okay.
And then my jaw dropped because I still had nothing. And in 1 week, I found a bar in a box. Shout out to y'all. Y'all saved us that day. They were a mobile bartending company. I rented tables and chairs from Arizona Party Equipment.
Okay.
I hosted it myself. I hired a videographer. And we winged it. We ordered like plates and cutlery on Amazon. My husband was like, "You're nuts," but it was a 5-course meal.
Yeah.
I did like our moi moi, which is like a black eyed peed pudding that you could put like eggs in, but it's also a great vegan vegetarian meal. We did the jollof rice. We did fried rice. We did egusi, and then we actually did a dessert, a chin chin apple crumble.
Nice.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I know. Nigerians don't
Okay.
really eat sweet, right? But we wanted to put our own little spin on it, so we created the apple crumble with chin chin, which is like a fried. How would you describe chin chin? Fried flour snack, I guess. Something like that. It's like sweet, cinnamony, and so we topped it off, and it was just excellent. And after that one, we hosted 10 more dining experiences.
Really?
And they sold out each time.
Okay.
And I knew then that like Phoenix was onto something with me.
Yeah.
And so I took out a good chunk of my savings and I found a food truck builder before I told my husband. This is my grand reveal.
All the secrets are coming out.
Edit this part
All
out.
the secrets are coming out.
And I handed this guy $25,000 and I said, build me a food truck. He was like, I got you.
Really?
And he built us a fine food truck.
Nice.
And we launched officially February 26th of 2023.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we learned all the lessons as we went. I did not even know where to get a food handler certificate.
Gotcha.
From that, seeing that to what we are now, it's like learning by experience is the best teacher anybody can have.
Oh, yeah.
It will humble you.
Definitely.
It will ground you.
Definitely.
It will keep you disciplined. Which is why I can't do the self-help books, because I'm not giving you the cheat codes.
Gotcha.
Go and discover it for yourself.
Go and do it. That's
so
cool.
yes, that was the story.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the full spiel.
You hit officially 2 years with the truck. Are there plans to have more trucks here soon?
Well, ain't that the $1 million question? I don't know is the answer.
Okay.
We could have more trucks. We could go brick and mortar. My heart's really tugging for like a cooking class space. That's where I'm at with it. But who knows?
I think you could do a lot with that, like a cooking class, because, the online space is like opening up. There's so much you could do. Masterclasses, workshops, whatever, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's my heart is tugging there when I think about things that could not just limit me to one stream of income, but things that I could utilize for multiple. Yeah. That's where my heart's really going. Nice. And then maybe park the food truck out there. And you guys can come in, eat, and then leave.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Yeah. So now 2 years in, officially, with the truck and all that. But really, this has been going on for what, like 10
years?
Yeah. That's what they always say. Give it 10 years.
Give it 10 years.
Give it 10 years.
Longest 10 of my life.
And then give it 10 more after that, because there's so much more, right?
There's so much more
after that. So no, that's great. Now, after going through, your, pharmacy and all that, and then now as a food truck, have your parents come to see it? What do they think? What are their thoughts? What do they really think?
So my parents are extremely proud of me and my success.
Nice.
But my parents are Nigerian.
Right.
So this is real life what happens.
Yes.
Someone calls my mom and they're like, Mommy Fumi, did you see Fumi on the news the other day? Yeah, so we thank God I saw her, but just so that you know that she's still working in the hospital, you can even call there. The other day I called there, they even told me that yes, she's still working there. So if that gives you a feel, my parents are very proud of me, but have made it very clear that this is still a hobby and your job is still your job. So if y'all wondering why I have not left my job yet, it's because of my mama.
Oh man,
she is not playing with me. But they're Nigerian parents, right? They love the entrepreneurship. Obviously, they see the success, they see the growth. But to them, like, your 9 to 5 is your 9 to 5, and that's what makes you a respected professional. So whatever keeps them happy.
For sure. I've always had this thought that I also have a job.
Yes.
But it's super flexible.
Yes, same.
And that's one of the greatest things that I do have is being able to do that and run my business as well, the way I run it. And it's been working, and I think that's why we're able to keep my wife from working and I'm being home with the kids.
Amazing.
And she's probably working harder than I am. I promise you she
definitely.
is.
I can assure you she is.
So, and I'm entirely grateful for that.
Definitely.
And then to just be able to run and do the things that I do in the way that I do it. And it's been great. So one of the things that I do is video. I help businesses with video. And I know that you have a good following on Instagram. You've used video to really build your business. And how has that come, how did you start doing that? What was your thought pattern behind saying, I'm going to go all in on content for my business?
Yeah. So for sure, it started with just me, right? Me and my phone. I upgraded to a iPhone 13 Max Pro.
Hey.
It was hot back then, okay? Now
yeah.
it's a couple versions behind, but I just started with my phone. You'd see the TikTokers would say, oh, buy this mount. It's great. Or buy this or buy that. And then continued on. But, those big events, I invested in video. Like our first brunch, it was the videos that were created from it that made it look alluring and appealing for other people to want to join.
For sure.
Anytime we are featured in like a magazine or something, I will usually have like a video or a content crew either hired by me or whoever it is that is asking us to come because they know the value of it.
Yeah.
Even some of my food content, like every about quarter, I will invest in video and photo and, we'll just go ahead and shoot content because let me tell y'all something. Social media is king now. Like if you own a business and it's not on social media, if you're thriving, come and write a good book and teach us how to do it because to me, it is virtually impossible. Like any service line, even I work for a hospital system here in the Valley. I see people that will go in like search boxes for like their community and type in like my hospital's name.
That's true.
And read the reviews before they choose where they're getting their service.
True.
From a dentist for your children. My dentist and my pediatrician were selected because social media, what people were talking about. So you have to have a social media presence and it's got to be clean.
Totally.
If you want to take your business to the next level, even sometimes I beat myself up like, girl, why are you posting that dark video? Or you know what I mean? Sometimes you just got to get stuff to put out, but definitely making sure like that your content is quality is a game changer. And you do that by investing in video.
And I like what you said, like you bring on the crew quarterly rather than having to have someone there with you weekly or monthly. Because some people, that's what holds them back is that I don't want to have someone there every time, but you do it quarterly. And then in the middle of it, you have your iPhone to be able to use and still keep posting content. And that's the thing is like, keep it, like your strategy has to be something that you could replicate and is easy for you to do. And so bringing in those people quarterly, then now you have a production team that even takes the quality a little bit, up a notch. And that's the thing with building a personal brand or a corporate brand is trust, I've met you before in person. Yeah. But one of the reasons you probably feel more comfortable with me is because you've seen my content online.
Oh, yeah.
And same vice versa.
Right.
And I think that's the thing with businesses or whatever. If you want people to feel comfortable with you and come into your space of business, you got to put the content out.
You do.
It's about trust. It's about building trust. So
Building those connections.
yeah. For the longest time, I had a love-hate relationship with social media.
Same. I still do.
Yeah. It's like one of those things where you have to do it, but do I?
It's
really
like, do I really? Like my stuff should just speak for itself, but it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Not anymore.
Yeah, you have. It's like you might be good at what you do, but you're not well known for what you do. And you have to put it out there, and it's a struggle sometimes. But
it is.
The consistency pays off in the long run.
It does.
And consistency doesn't mean you have to post 3 times a day.
Right.
But showing up in some kind of way.
Like, look at Rafi, the mayor of Phoenix, Rafi Law Group. Like, I'm sure Rafi is a kick behind lawyer, right? But everybody knows who Rafi is. Like,
sure.
if you turn into a 360-degree angle, Rafi's going to show up somewhere. Like, why do you think his branding spends so much money on making his face?
Right.
If you come to visit Arizona and you're here for 24 hours, you will see a Rafi poster, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm telling you.
For sure. Now, that's good. So in everything that you've accomplished, moving on, what has been the driving factor? What keeps you going?
What keeps me going? Money is sweet though.
Yeah,
I'm in Nigerian for sure.
For sure.
Honestly, I think God curates it uniquely. I feel like every couple of months, I get the most compelling food stories.
Oh yeah.
That I ever get, and it's always when I'm about to throw in the towel. Yeah. So I think God loves Las Giddy Cafe more than me personally.
Hey, he put it within you. Like that's something that's brewed for a while.
That's it. Yeah. The most compelling one I've gotten was a autistic child and mom came to my food truck and we were somewhere at a festival and I guess the little girl ate it and she loved it. And her mom came to me and said that she had not been able to get her daughter to eat anything other than 2 food items that aren't even really food.
Gotcha.
But the way she saw her eat my so I kid you not, she bought everything else that I had. I didn't even want to get rid of it, obviously, because she was like, you name your price, I'm taking the rest of the rice. And then give me your house number because then I'm coming to your house to get it. And, and so that just stuck with me because, I know what that looks like for me personally. And so to know that I was able to help a mom who probably was keeping herself up at night because her child wasn't eating to find a dish that she otherwise would have probably never found in the state of Arizona.
Right.
To find it with me at her convenience because we were able to bring the food truck to wherever her location was. That to me just said, all right, girl, more jollof to come. More jollof to come.
It's those stories that keep you going. Like I've had times when I'm like, man, why am I still doing this podcast? And then I get someone that reaches out like, hey, that episode you just dropped. Like, I'm glad you dropped it. Like, stuff like that. Like multiple people and it's been really cool, to continue to have these conversations with entrepreneurs and people that are doing something, building something, beyond themselves. And I feel like that's the hand of God working within us, is He has given us skills, talents, and things to do something with. Yeah. Yes, part of it could be your 9 to 5, but I think it's beyond that. Right. Where the 9 to 5 that you go to is specific to your boss or your employer. That is their thing to build. And you should have something, whether it's a hobby or whatever, you could always turn into a business or whatever it is. But I feel like everyone should be building something because it builds character. It builds, just something within us, that's it's a driving factor for life and just learning about life. And so keep doing what you're doing. It's been fun to, watching on social and seeing everything that you accomplish and being on the news and seeing all that. It's been really cool,
Thank you.
Getting all that. What's that guy's name? The big old influencer dude.
Oh, Groove.
Dancing.
Oh my gosh.
He's Nigerian also, right?
Yeah, he's Nigerian. He said, that was a cool experience. And we did not expect that to blow up the way it did. So that was cool.
Yeah, so it's been cool, watching your journey. So if there's one thing you want to leave with, immigrants, Nigerians, business owners, you could break it up, into multifaceted advice for people. What would that be? Yeah, I've got one lick of advice for everyone. First you leap, then you grow the wings. And that's hard sometimes. And I can't believe how many times I've leapt
knowing that I was going to fall flat on my face, but watching the wings just kind of pop out of nowhere like a last minute parachute and not only just keep us afloat, but you take us above what we could have thought is such a wild thought when you know, really say it out loud. So yes, first you leap, y'all, then you grow the wings.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I like it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my
Is there anything else
pleasure.
you want to leave with us? Anything else that we haven't asked you, or something that you wanted to share in the middle of this interview?
Yeah, Nigerian jollof is the best jollof.
Hey.
Saint Chef Patty said it.
Yes. Yes.
all.
You got it here official.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming by.
Yeah.
And like I always say, you're created to create something. So go create.
Thank you. Yay.